A dishwasher's incredible 30-day transformation revealed, millionaire chefs were left speechless. Maya stood with her hands submerged in the soapy water, scrubbing the plates that once held exquisite meals prepared by the best chefs in Chicago. Laughter and chatter filled the air, a bustling reminder of the life outside the restaurant's shining walls, while her dreams swirled like steam from the kitchen's pots. She looked up for a brief moment, catching glimpses of fathers and mothers enjoying meals with their kids, families laughing, soaking in flavors, while her heart ached for her own son, Jake. She was his world, but lately, that world felt like it was slipping away. Jake was 15 now, consumed by his obsession with culinary stardom, the way some boys get lost in video games or sports. Yet every hour Maya spent scrubbing pots and clearing tables was a step further from Jake's dreams of Gordon Ramsay and celebrity kitchens. There was an unspoken distance growing between them, chaos of their lives pulling them apart. One fateful night, while wiping down glassware, Maya overheard millionaire chefs discussing an upcoming contest that promised recognition and cash. Her heart raced. A jolt of excitement shot through her as hope flickered. What if I entered? She whispered to herself. What if I could show Jake that hard work and dreams can break barriers? But doubt crept in as fast as it had ignited. She had no formal training. The idea felt ridiculous. Tears stung her eyes, the weight of her inadequacy heavy on her shoulders. You'll never make it, Mom. Jake shouted angrily one day, words cutting deeper than any knife she'd wielded. Their eyes met, and the disappointment was unbearable, a chasm that felt impossible to bridge. Before despair could root itself, something incredible happened. The very community that had been her lifeline now rallied around her. Neighbors brought spices, shared recipes, and even offered their kitchens for practice. She felt the spark reignite and fuel her resolve. Each day, she chopped onions, stirred stews, and simmered sauces, her love for Jake pouring into every dish. As the competition day approached, nerves twisted in her gut. When she finally set foot in that kitchen, heart racing, eyes scanning the room, she felt the weight of it all pressing down. But as she plated her dish, a vibrant twist on her mother's traditional recipe, intricately infused with love, she felt her spirit lift. However, just as she was about to serve, disaster struck. A misstep sent her creation crashing to the floor. Gasps reverberated throughout the kitchen, a collective breath held. But then something unexpected blossomed. As she quickly gathered pieces of her broken dish, a hidden ingredient in her bag caught her eye. In a moment of raw vulnerability, Maya transformed her mistake into something creative. The audience began murmurs of intrigue, then cheers ignited, disconnected from her initial setback. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As applause filled the air, Maya's heart swelled, and through the warmth of community support, she sensed a turning tide. In the crowd, her eyes locked onto Jake's. For a heartbeat, everything else melted away. An ocean of unspoken feelings rushed between them, regret, pride, and yearning melded into a single moment. Could this triumph in the kitchen be the thin thread that stitches their hearts back together? Would it finally bridge the gap that had formed between them? The crowd roared around her, yet the ache lingered, leaving her breathless and longing for redemption. The journey was just beginning. Maya stood, trembling slightly, the applause still ringing in her ears. It was surreal, this sea of people cheering for her, and yet all she could focus on was Jake's expression. His face was a storm, a mix of confusion and dawning realization. Did he see her? The woman who gave everything for him, now standing under the spotlight, finally claiming her own dreams. As the last claps faded into whispers, she took a deep breath and stepped off the stage. The adrenaline was still coursing through her veins, but a heaviness settled in her chest. She had proven herself in that moment, but would Jake know the depth of her sacrifice? Before she could reach him, the head chef approached, a glimmer of admiration in his eyes. "That was brilliant. I've never seen someone turn a failure into a new dish so quickly. You have a natural flair." His words warmed her spirit, yet her gaze drifted back to Jake, who stood rooted in place, arms crossed, questioning. "Mom," he began, barely above a whisper, "how did you know what to do? You've never cooked like that before." It wasn't an accusation, but there was disbelief woven into his tone. Maya hesitated, flashes of those late-night practices and her community's support bombarded her thoughts. "I figured it out," she replied softly, keeping her eyes locked onto his. "I just remembered everything I've learned from you, from my mom, from all the kitchens I've worked in." Jake uncrossed his arms slowly, uncertainty still tight in his expression. "But you never believed you could, did you?" That question hit harder than any critique. "I didn't, but I wanted to show you that it's possible, Jake. Dreams don't just belong to others, we can chase them, too." The air was thick with awkwardness, as people around them cheered for the next contestant. But all Maya could manage was the hope of bridging the silence that had stretched so far between them. In that moment, she realized it wasn't just about cooking, it was about creating a future where they both felt validated and loved. "Maybe." Jake hesitated, swallowing hard. "Maybe I've been too hard on you. I didn't think you could understand." The gentle warmth of hope flickered again in Maya's heart. "And maybe I need to understand your dreams, too. Can we figure this out together?" Before he could respond, another contestant was announced, and the air thick with anxiety spread again, pulling him away from her embrace. The crowd roared back to life, and Maya watched as Jake turned back towards the stage. But the moment hung, charged with promise, and Maya couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something new. Later that evening, exhaustion hit her like a wave. As she prepared to leave the bustling restaurant, her heart danced with newfound confidence and an urge to share her victory with the world. She wanted to show everyone, especially Jake, that the journey wasn't just about this competition, it was about life, overcoming adversity together, just as their community had lifted her. But reality loomed ahead. How would they navigate the challenges that still stood between them? As she stepped out into the cool night air, a thought struck her. If she could harness that power within her, maybe she could help Jake with his dreams too. The stakes were higher than ever. How would Jake respond to her newfound determination? And would they discover what it really meant to dream together, side by side? The journey wasn't over, it was just beginning. The night air was crisp, yet Maya felt a warmth radiating from within. Despite the uncertainty hanging between them, she found solace in the stars twinkling above. Each pinprick of light felt like a reminder of the futures waiting to be chased. The streets around her buzzed with energy and laughter, but her mind was a whirlwind, centered solely on Jake. As she walked, she allowed her thoughts to drift, recalling the journey that had led her here. The countless hours she spent scrubbing pots and pans, the voices of her co-workers encouraging her to push forward, and the dinner conversations with Jake where they would dream about their futures. But now, those dreams felt like a bridge that needed rebuilding. Maya turned her phone over in her hand, contemplating sending him a message. Maybe something light-hearted to break the ice. No, she thought. It needed to be more than that. This was about sincerity, about connection. She saw Jake's silhouette cutting through the crowd toward the parking lot. He looked lost in thought, still processing the whirlwind of emotions. The fear that he might not understand her still hung like a cloud, but she had to try. "Jake!" she called out. He turned, his brow furrowing with confusion, as if he had almost forgotten she was there. "Maya," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. She stepped closer, trying to bridge the invisible gap. "Can we talk? Just for a minute?" He nodded, and they found a quiet corner, away from the noise. The air between them felt electric, filled with unspoken words and lingering doubts. "Look," she started, her heart pounding. "I know I've surprised you today. And honestly, I surprised myself too." He took a breath, arms still crossed defensively. "Yeah, I just never thought you'd actually go for it. You were always focused on everyone else." Maya felt the walls start to crumble just a little. "I did it for us, Jake. For you. I had to show you that dreams are worth chasing, no matter how impossible they seem." His eyes softened, but doubt still lingered. "And what about my dreams? Don't they matter too?" The question struck her, deeper than she expected. "Of course they do. I want to understand what you want. I'm not just the support, I want to be part of your journey, too." Jake uncrossed his arms and took a step forward, the light of the street lamp illuminating his conflicted expression. "It's hard, Mom. I've been pushing you away because I didn't think you'd get it, but maybe we can figure it out together." Relief washed over her like a gentle wave. "That's all I've wanted to hear. We can start small. What's one dream you have that seems within reach?" He paused, his gaze drifting to the pavement. "I've been thinking about applying for that culinary school downtown." The words hung in the air, illuminating a path they could walk together. Maya felt a swell of pride. "Let us do it. Help me with your application, and I'll support you. I want to help you realize that dream." A small smile broke through Jake's guarded look, a tiny spark igniting hope. But just as fast, it faded. "What if it's too late for me?" "Then it's never too late for us. Remember what we said? We chase dreams together." As they stood in that fleeting moment of connection, something inside Maya shifted. This was the first step toward healing. But even as joy flickered in her chest, shadows of doubt loomed. Could they truly find the path forward when obstacles were still waiting? In the distance, she could hear the bustling crowd of competitors and families, yet there they stood, two unlikely partners at the precipice of a new beginning. What would this journey demand of them? And would they be able to defy the doubts that clung like shadows? The answers lay ahead, and as they turned to leave, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the start of a much larger adventure together. Maya took a deep breath as they stepped out of the dimly lit corner. The laughter and chatter around them felt both distant and oddly comforting. This was a moment of change, a shift that could tip the scales toward hope. "Okay, how do we get started?" Jake asked, his voice tentative but charged with determination. "First, let us go to that culinary school's website," Maya suggested, her heart racing at the thought of doing this with him. They walked toward a nearby bench, and she pulled out her phone, tapping furiously as she searched. The glow of the screen illuminated Jake's face, and for a moment, he looked less guarded, like a boy caught in the thrill of possibility rather than the weight of expectation. "Here it is," she said excitedly, pointing to the colorful images of students in chef jackets, hands deftly chopping vegetables and plating artsy dishes. "We need to find out how to apply. It can't be that complicated, right?" Jake nodded, leaning closer to see. A hesitant smile danced across his lips. "This does look cool. My own space, my own creations. It feels like a place I could belong." Maya felt a surge of encouragement. "That's exactly it. You belong in a kitchen, Jake. You've always had a knack for cooking. Remember our family dinners? You'd whip up something new every time." He chuckled softly, the tension slowly melting away. "Yeah, I guess I did love that. We're going to print your resume, and see if we can get some recommendations. Maybe from Ms. Alvarez at the diner. She could talk to them about your work ethic." "Talking about myself has never been my strong suit," Jake admitted, scratching the back of his head nervously. Maya put a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You won't be doing this alone. We'll practice. You'll show them who you are and why you want this." Just then, the sound of sirens echoed in the distance, the shriek cutting through the moment. Maya felt a hint of anxiety creeping back in, but she shook it off. Let us not focus on what ifs. Instead, let us talk about what could be. Imagine yourself in that school, learning from the best chefs, creating trendy dishes. He gazed into the night sky, his expression one of deep contemplation. I can almost see it, he said slowly, a glimmer of hope igniting in his eyes. Then he turned to her, his voice lower but filled with resolve. But what if I fail? Then we keep trying, she said fiercely, her heart pounding. Failure isn't the end, it's part of learning. It's part of growing. They lingered a beat in shared silence. The world felt suspended around them, full of unfulfilled dreams and aspirations. Thanks, Mom. For believing in me. Maya's heart swelled. Always. We're a team. A sudden burst of laughter nearby pulled them back to reality. Life continued around them, vibrant and alive. But in that moment, everything felt still. What's next? Jake asked, excitedly shifting on the bench. Maya smiled, her mind racing with ideas. Next, we make a plan. But first, let us celebrate. Let us grab some ice cream or your favorite burger. This is a big step, after all. Yeah. A burger sounds great, he agreed, all traces of doubt momentarily forgotten. As they stood up, Maya felt the weight of the night lift. Orange streetlight filtered through the trees, casting a golden hue over them. But even as they walked toward the diner's glimmer, a nagging whisper lingered in her mind. What if Jake's dream led them down a path they weren't ready for? Behind them, the crowd continued to laugh and cheer, oblivious to the tender moment of transformation occurring just a few feet away. Maya smiled but felt a tremor of apprehension. The warmth bubbling inside her was not without its shadows, and she couldn't shake the feeling that this newfound hope could further unravel the threads they had worked so hard to knit back together. What challenges awaited them as they stepped into this new world? And would their bond withstand the trials to come? As they approached the diner, the neon lights flickered with a friendly glow, a beacon of comfort amidst the uncertainty. Maya grabbed Jake's hand, and they exchanged excited looks, the burger and ice cream a reward for their brave step into dreaming. Inside, the familiar smell of grilled burgers and sweet fries enveloped them, their safe haven. Maya slid into a booth while Jake took a moment to admire the colorful menu plastered on the wall. Each item felt full of possibility, just like their plans. Okay, so what's it going to be? The classic cheeseburger, she asked, a playful smirk on her face. Definitely, he grinned back, his nerves still shaken but now sparked with excitement. Plus, I might try to recreate it at culinary school. Maya chuckled, picturing him in a bright chef's coat, flipping burgers like a pro. I can see it now. And you'll definitely ace that dish. As they placed their orders, she leaned closer, lowering her voice to a conspiratorial whisper. So, what are your plans for the first day at school? Will you wear one of those tall hats? He laughed heartily, the sound lifting a bit of the tension that still clung to the edges of his smile. I don't know. Maybe I'll wear a chef's hat with a big M on it for Maya. That way, everyone knows who my biggest fan is. Oh please, she said, feigning embarrassment, though her heart swelled. Just make sure you don't accidentally spill soup on it or something. The shared laughter eased the shadows lingering in her mind, if only for a moment. But just as quickly as the joy surged, a pang of reality struck her. The waitress delivered their food, and something about the sight of Jake digging in with gleeful abandon made a knot form in her stomach. She wanted so much for him but worried so much about the world he was about to step into. Hey, she said softly. Promise me you'll take it one step at a time, okay? It might be hard. Sometimes the kitchen can be chaotic. He looked up, a hint of seriousness crossing his face. Are you worried about me? Just a little, Maya admitted, stirring her milkshake with a straw, lost in thought. New things can be tough. What if you face challenges that feel impossible? But what if I find my passion, he countered, his eyes lighting up. What if I create things I never thought possible? Maya nodded, absorbing his words. They weren't just dreams, they were aspirations drenched in determination. I believe that's exactly what will happen. They finished their meal, sharing stories and laughter, building a bridge between anxiety and hope. But as they left the diner, the brightness of the night struck her again, revealing the looming questions that still danced on the edges of her mind. Jake? She said suddenly, their footsteps slowing on the pavement. What happens when things get tough? What if you lose interest, or you hit a wall? He paused, his expression thoughtful. Then I'll break it down. I won't give up, Mom. What's that saying? If at first you don't succeed, try again. Right? Right, Maya replied, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. His confidence felt contagious, but the fear lingered like an unwanted cloud in her heart. As they turned to walk back home, a wave of uncertainty washed over her again. The excitement of change was palpable, but so were the deep-seated fears of the unknown. What awaited them at culinary school? Would Jake's passion truly flourish, or would the realities of the kitchen prove too overwhelming? The streetlights flickered above, punctuating her doubts with rays of hope. Only time would reveal the path ahead, but there was a fierce determination in their steps, a promise woven between them. But then, just as they reached the familiarity of home, Maya's phone buzzed in her pocket, a new message that felt like a jolt of electricity. She pulled it out, her heart racing as she read, "Hey Maya, it's Ms. Alvarez. I've been thinking about you and Jake. Can we meet to discuss something important?" 1,000 questions spun in her mind. What could Ms. Alvarez want? Would it change everything they were planning? With a glance at Jake, she felt a mix of excitement and fear ripple through her. What would this meeting mean for Jake's future? Maya sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers trembling as she stared at her phone. The message from Ms. Alvarez felt like a stone gripping her stomach. What could possibly be so important? She turned her gaze to Jake, who was sprawled comfortably on the floor, still buzzing with the energy that came from a good meal and ambitious dreams. "Mom," he said, noticing her pensive expression. "What's wrong?" She hesitated, debating whether to share her unease. "It's just. I heard from Ms. Alvarez." The name hung in the air like a question mark waiting to be answered. Jake sat up, his curiosity piqued. "What did she say?" Maya took a deep breath. "She wants to meet. Says she has something important to discuss with us." Jake's face lit up, his excitement evident in the way he bounced slightly on his heels. "That's great. Maybe she's got connections or something." "Yeah, maybe," Maya replied, feeling a mix of dread and hope tumble within her. "Or maybe, she's going to tell us there's a problem." "Mom," Jake said softly, his tone reassuring. "You said you believe in me. What's the worst that could happen?" She smiled weakly but couldn't shake the tightness in her chest. "I just want this all to work out. For both of us." He reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together. Right?" Maya nodded, though the knot in her stomach remained. They made plans to meet Ms. Alvarez after school the following week. Until then, every moment felt heavy with unanswered questions. The days leading up to the meeting passed in a blur. Maya made small adjustments in her routine to accommodate Jake's upcoming classes. She learned to balance work, home, and the thrill of having a son about to take a significant step toward his dreams. As she packed his lunch each morning, she couldn't help but feel both pride and anxiety swell within her. Finally, the day of the meeting arrived. Maya stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her hair, anxiety gnawing at her confidence. She wanted everything to appear normal, calm, collected. For Jake's sake. But as they drove to school, her grip on the steering wheel tightened. "Mom, you okay?" Jake asked, sensing the tension. "Yeah, just nervous, I guess," she replied, forcing a smile. As they approached the school, the usual excitement of a new day was replaced by butterflies in her stomach. They walked through the larger-than-life doors, the walls adorned with culinary art and student projects. Bright energy buzzed in the air, but all Maya felt was a looming shadow. Ms. Alvarez waited in the busy cafeteria, her brow furrowed in thought as she noticed them walk in. She motioned them over with a warm smile that only partially eased Maya's fears. "Thank you for coming," Ms. Alvarez said, her voice bright but a bit serious. "Jake, I've been keeping a close eye on your progress, and I think you have a lot of potential." Jake beamed with pride, and Maya felt a flicker of hope in her heart. However, Ms. Alvarez continued, pausing to collect her thoughts. "I believe we need to discuss how to ensure you get the most out of this opportunity. There are some challenges I foresee as you transition into the program." An icy wave of fear gripped Maya as she braced for whatever followed. Between Jake's eager expression and the worried lines on Ms. Alvarez's face, the stakes felt higher than ever. "What kind of challenges?" Jake asked, his tone earnest. A moment of silence filled the air as if the whole cafeteria held its breath, waiting for the answer. Maya's heart raced faster than her thoughts could keep up. And then, Ms. Alvarez leaned forward, speaking in hushed but firm tones. "It's not just about learning how to cook, it's about resilience and dedication in the face of tough situations." Maya exchanged a glance with Jake, anxiety twirling with anticipation. She could feel the gravity of the conversation shift as Ms. Alvarez's words hung in the air like a delicate balance. What did that mean? Would it require more from Jake than he anticipated? Maya pondered the unexpected turns they'd have to navigate. "Let us explore how we can tackle any obstacles together." Jake looked excited, but Maya felt a stirring concern. Ms. Alvarez had more to reveal, more pieces of this puzzle to fit together. And deep down, her instincts warned her this was just the beginning. What lay ahead was a journey filled with unknowns that neither of them could prepare for. Maya held her breath, the atmosphere thick with expectation. Ms. Alvarez continued, her tone shifting slightly, as if she was about to unveil something even more pressing. "Jake, it's not just about cooking delicious meals. The culinary world is incredibly competitive. You'll face criticism, setbacks, and the pressure to constantly improve." Maya's heart sank. She saw the flicker of uncertainty in Jake's eyes, a reflection of her own fears. "But I know I can make it," he replied, his voice steady but a touch of doubt breaking through. Ms. Alvarez nodded, acknowledging his confidence. "That's the spirit. But we need to prepare for those tough moments and create a plan that will help you flourish. It's important to build a support system." "Like who?" Jake asked, his enthusiasm not yet dimmed. Maya leaned back in her chair. "I could help, of course. But I worry," she said hesitantly. "What if I'm not enough?" Ms. Alvarez turned to her. "This isn't just about Jake. It's about both of you. You've been his rock, and being there while he navigates these waters is crucial. But you also need to find your own support, someone you can talk to about your worries." A wave of realization washed over Maya like a cool breeze on a sweltering day. She could lean on others, too. The kitchen community was vast and nurturing, she had witnessed that during Jake's early cooking classes. "I hadn't thought of that," she admitted, a small ember of hope igniting within her. "Together, though, you can build resilience," Ms. Alvarez emphasized. "But there might be unconventional strategies to explore, like internships or competitions. These will challenge Jake in ways he may not expect." "Competitions?" Jake said, his voice a mix of excitement and anxiety. "Do I have to compete against professionals?" "Not yet," Ms. Alvarez assured him with a smile. "But practice will push you. And I believe you'll emerge stronger." Maya felt a rush of pride in her son. He had this drive, this spark. She reached for his hand, intertwining their fingers, silently promising him she'd support whatever path he chose. Just then, a loud voice interrupted the moment. It was Casey, a fellow student, who had just finished his lunch. "You all talking about cooking competitions? Count me in. I'm ready to take on anyone." His bravado filled the cafeteria and stirred some laughter among the nearby tables. Jake chuckled, his nerves easing a fraction. "Bring it on, Casey." As the banter flowed, Maya watched the interaction with relief, but Ms. Alvarez caught her eye with a serious nod, continuing the discussion. "I'll schedule a follow-up meeting to discuss specifics. I think we can set up a trial program tailored just for you both." Jake's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "This is going to be amazing." Maya's heart swelled with conflicting emotions. Excitement for what lay ahead, but a pinch of apprehension shadowed her thoughts. She couldn't shake the feeling that change was on the horizon, challenging everything they knew. After wrapping up their talk, they stepped outside, the sunlight pouring over them like liquid gold. It felt like a new world awaited, yet the uncertainty lingered. "Mom," Jake said, his voice steady as they walked. "What if I fail? What if I can't handle the pressure?" Maya stopped, looking into his eyes. "Then we learn. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?" Jake nodded, determination settling across his features. "Right." But inside, Maya grappled with a question of her own. What if her support wasn't enough? Could they truly navigate this together when the stakes were so high? That night, as she lay in bed, sleep eluded her. Possibilities swirled in her mind. Jake's journey was about to take bold turns, but along with hope, an urgent feeling began to rise. She needed to prepare herself as much as he did. What challenges would they encounter? The thought gnawed at her. And as her thoughts raced, she reached for her phone to scroll through messages. She stopped at a name that pulsed with memories, someone from her past who had connections in the culinary world. Perhaps it was time to reach out. But would that decision bring the help they needed or complicate everything further? The next morning was clouded over, a heavy mist lingering like an uninvited guest. Maya brewed coffee, the aroma creeping through the half-lit kitchen, filling it with warmth. Jake shuffled in, bleary-eyed but smiling. "Morning, Mom," he murmured, searching for his favorite mug. "Good morning." "Big day ahead," she replied, trying to infuse energy into her voice. Today was when they would reconnect with Ms. Alvarez. She could sense the weight on Jake's shoulders. Excitement mingled with something deeper, a shadow of anxiety she couldn't ignore. "Have you thought more about the competition?" she asked, hoping to draw him out of his morning haze. "Yeah," he said as he poured cereal. "It feels like a lot, but I think I can manage." He took a big bite, chewing slowly, but she could see the nervousness lurking behind his bravado. "Just remember, it's okay to feel nervous. It means you care," Maya reassured him, wishing she could fully convince herself too. After breakfast, they walked into school, the mist lifting slightly as they approached the culinary program. Maya's heart thudded in her chest when Jake spotted Ms. Alvarez talking with a few students outside the kitchen lab. Hesitating at first, he took a deep breath and strode forward, confidence returning as he met her attentive gaze. "Good morning, Jake. I'm glad you're here," Ms. Alvarez said warmly, energy radiating from her as she introduced them to the other students. "Today's meeting is all about setting goals. You're going to start mapping out your culinary journey." Maya felt her own tension ease watching Jake interact, yet something nagged at her, a feeling that perhaps she was stepping into deeper waters herself. The students gathered around, and they began discussing what their aspirations looked like. Some wanted to run restaurants, others dreamed of food photography or culinary writing. Jake's enthusiasm began to rise, especially when he was paired with a few classmates for brainstorming. They tossed ideas back and forth, laughter punctuating their energetic discussions. He wanted to specialize in fusion cuisine, combining his favorite dishes from different cultures, and through the conversations, Maya found herself impressed by the clarity and passion he displayed. As the meeting wound down, Ms. Alvarez called for everyone's attention. I want to assign each of you a mentor for our upcoming projects. This is someone who has experience in the culinary field. We'll help you connect and thrive together. The chatter turned to excitement, the students buzzing as they realized what this meant. Maya glanced at Jake, who exchanged eager glances with his friends. But then she noticed the look of uncertainty wash back over his face as the names of potential mentors were announced. What if someone had expectations higher than what he could handle? What if he didn't meet their standards? Before she could contemplate too deeply, Ms. Alvarez approached them again. Maya, could we chat for a moment? There's something I'd like to discuss about Jake's mentorship program. Her stomach twisted at the sudden shift in focus. Was this a good thing or a bad thing? As Ms. Alvarez led her aside, Maya felt the tension in her shoulders tighten. What if this conversation turned everything upside down? Jake is showing a lot of promise, Ms. Alvarez began, her tone measured and thoughtful. But I think he might benefit even more from a tailored mentorship. I remembered that you had some connections. Maya inhaled sharply, the earlier thought of reaching out swirling back into her mind. Could she offer help without imposing her own dreams onto Jake? What if this mentor turned out to be someone from her past, someone who could disrupt the fragile balance they had established? As if sensing her hesitation, Ms. Alvarez added, I really believe in Jake's potential, but reaching out could solidify his path. Maya pondered deeply, her heart racing. She was caught between what was best for Jake and what her past could reveal. Would she step forward into this unpredictable journey, or retreat back to safety? The moment felt monumental. Jake's future hung in the balance, and a choice had to be made. Would she be brave enough to reach out, or would fear hold her back? With her pulse quickening, she asked herself, what if this leap of faith changed everything? Maya stood there, caught in the web of uncertainty, her mind racing. The warmth of the morning was fading, replaced by a chill that seeped into her bones. Ms. Alvarez's words echoed in her ears, stirring a mix of hope and dread. What would it mean for Jake if she chose to pull strings from her past? Are you still with me? Ms. Alvarez's voice cut through the fog of her thoughts, piercing through to the surface of her anxiety. Yes. Sorry, Maya stammered, shaking her head slightly to clear it. I want to make sure this is the right move for Jake. Of course. Ms. Alvarez smiled, a knowing light in her eyes. That's what makes you a great mom. But think about it, mentorship isn't just about what you can give. It's about what Jake can learn and grow from. Maya drew a breath, looking back at Jake. He was animated, discussing the concept of his fusion cuisine with conviction, his features alight with passion. The boy she had watched struggle with uncertainty was stepping into a new version of himself. Did she want to hold him back out of fear of her own past? Okay, she said, gripping the edge of the counter. I think I want to reach out. But, what if opening this door uncovers things he isn't ready for? What if it changes everything in a way we aren't prepared for? Change can be scary, but it can also be beautiful, Ms. Alvarez replied, her eyes softening. You've done incredible work raising him, Maya. Trust that he's ready to take this step. Maya let out a shaky breath, feeling the weight of the decision loom larger than its true size. She finally nodded, albeit reluctantly. I'll do it. I have to. For him. Great. Ms. Alvarez beamed. You still have some time before the mentorships are assigned. Think carefully about who you want to approach, and I can help facilitate an introduction. Maya felt a rush of relief mixed with trepidation. There was still uncertainty, but she had made a choice. She turned once more to look at Jake. He was laughing now, an easy sound that seemed to fill the entire space around him. How had this day transformed him so quickly? Driven by a newfound determination, Maya walked back to Jake and his group, her heart swelling with a blend of pride and anxiety. Hey, buddy. How are things going over here? Jake turned, his smile radiant. Amazing. We're brainstorming fusion ideas. You know, mixing tacos with sushi. Isn't that wild? It's creative. Maya replied, playing along. But don't forget about your own unique flair in the kitchen. What do you want to show the world, Jake? His eyes sparkled. I want to make food that tells a story. She stood taller, the fear ebbing in the wake of her son's passion. The remainder of the day flew by, filled with laughter and energy, yet lingering questions replayed in Maya's mind. Was she truly ready to confront her past? Would the mentorship lead to revelations that both she and Jake were unprepared to face? That evening, as they sat at the kitchen table, Maya pulled out her phone, hesitating before searching for the name that could connect their worlds. With one tap, she found herself staring at an image, a chef from her history, someone dazzlingly talented but also tangled in their past. Should she follow through? Anxiety crawled back up her spine. Time ticked by slowly, the weight of her decision pressing down. But Jake needed this, didn't he? Before she could lose her courage, she pressed the button and began typing. But just as the message was about to send, her heart raced, and an inexplicable dread washed over her. What if this was a mistake? She paused, fingers hovering above the screen. What lay ahead was uncertain. Would this leap change everything, or would it simply pave the way for brighter days? A sudden knock at the door broke her concentration. Maya glanced at Jake, who raised an eyebrow in curious excitement. Mom, who could that be? Maya's heart raced again. The universe had a way of tossing unexpected moments into their lives, and now it seemed like fate was knocking. Let us find out, she said, rising from her seat, her pulse quickening with each step. As she opened the door, she was unprepared for what awaited her on the other side. Maya opened the door, and there stood a figure wrapped in the shadows of the evening. Anna, an old friend from culinary school, her apron stained with colors from her latest creation. Maya gasped, the familiarity drawing a wave of memories. Once the best of friends, they had shared dreams over simmering pots and whispered secrets in bustling kitchens. But time and misunderstandings had pulled them apart. Surprise! Anna exclaimed, a glint of excitement in her eyes. I heard about your competition. I'm so proud of you. Mother and son stood side by side, a perfect team tasked with facing an unexpected visitor. Jake looked between the two women, confusion written across his face. Mom, you know her? He asked, curiosity sparking. Yes, sweetie. Anna and I were close, a long time ago, Maya said, feeling her heart swell and twist at the memories. Moments of laughter, failures, and the joy of culinary experimentation flooded her mind. What are you doing here? Maya hesitated, unsure how to reforge that bridge after years of silence. I came to discuss your next steps and how I can help. Your talent shouldn't be hidden away, Anna said earnestly, taking a step forward. And Jake, I've heard so much about you. If you're serious about culinary school, I can offer guidance too. Maya's heart raced. Could this be the connection they needed? Yet uncertainty hung heavy in the air like rushed steam. But, how do you know about Jake? I've kept an eye on some talents in the area, Anna replied gently. And Maya, I see the spark in Jake. It's about time you both embrace the opportunities before you. I know what it's like to hesitate, to doubt, but I'm here to help, not just for you, but for him too. A pang of vulnerability swept over Maya, biting into the edges of her resolve. Was this the moment they'd been waiting for? Jake stepped closer now, glancing between them with newfound awareness. Can she really help, Mom? His eyes sparkled with hope, unfiltered and raw. I can, and I will, Anna assured him, her voice steady. We can set this as an adventure, a mentorship opportunity just for you. You'll learn firsthand from industry professionals and maybe even work alongside them. The kitchen felt charged with potential, each breath imbued with warmth and possibility. Maya's heart thudded, understanding that this was no mere coincidence. The conversation with Ms. Alvarez blinked through her mind, a bridge to rebuild, a chance to strengthen pathways for both of their futures. Maya, I believe in you, Anna said softly. You have the chance to show your passion to the world. And Jake too. Trust me, you don't need to navigate these waters alone. Maya took a step back, enveloped by all the swirling emotions: fear, hope, anticipation. But what if we choose wrong? What if this leads to disappointment? Disappointment doesn't define you. It builds you. We need to embrace the risks, Anna encouraged. But I'm happy to take one for the team. You and I can revive what was once great between us, and Jake can step into the spotlight he deserves. Looking down at Jake, she saw the glimmer of opportunity shining in his eyes, illuminating a passage that offered something fresh and exciting. Does this sound good to you, honey? Are you ready to step into this? Absolutely. He replied, his voice filled with energy. Let us do it. Maya's heart soared, gripping the edge of this reality, a possibility where dreams and connections melded into one. Okay, Anna, let us do this. I'm ready to embrace it all. With that, hope ignited between the three of them, a connection knitting together a tapestry marked by shared journeys and devotion for what lay ahead. The hours melted away as they brainstormed ideas, revisiting old recipes and sharing fresh new concepts. Through laughter and encouragement, Maya felt a weight lift. With Jake in her corner and Anna beside her, there seemed to be no limits. They could cook up a storm, fight through challenges, and dance with dreams, but all together. That evening felt almost surreal, as they packed up recipes, each one a promise of tomorrow, and every shared smile whispering the words they dared to utter, "We're in this together." As they closed the door, Jake clasped his mother's hand. Mom, we're gonna make it, right? His face glimmered with a fierce look of determination that fueled her spirit. More than make it, Jake. We are going to thrive. She said, her voice steady and full of resolve. Outside, the night wrapped around them, the stars twinkling like 1,000 dreams in the sky. Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose, a blend of nostalgia and excitement thrumming within her. This was a beginning for more than just her son. It was for her too. As they walked toward the car, the journey opened before them like an uncharted culinary map, lined with possibilities. When they finally reached home, Maya's thoughts whirled, but every doubt only added flavor to their ambition. They had challenges ahead, but with the loving bonds of family and the support of those who truly mattered, there was no mountain too high to climb. The kitchen was going to transform, and so were they. A new chapter awaited. The next day came with urgency, the spark igniting action. Maya felt that familiar thrill, the one that reminded her to embrace all paths available. It was time to reach out to new mentors and surround Jake with opportunities, solidifying a foundation of dreams built on resilience and love. As they drove to school, Maya's heart soared with joy, determined to nurture that fire within her son. Each twist and turn on the road felt imbued with dynamism, every moment bursting with possibilities. Jake, she said finally, breaking through their shared exhilaration. Let us chase our dreams together, okay? Together. He beamed. Together. Maya repeated, feeling a rush of lightness within. This was their new beginning. They were ready to inspire each other, ready to rise mother and son, chasing the love of food, forging new paths in life. With their dreams intertwined, the next chapter awaited, vibrant and rich, filled with shared laughter, spice, and the power of family. Their hearts sang harmoniously, and Maya felt her spirit ignite. She couldn't help but believe. This was only the start. Prepare for the incredible journey they were on. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss any exclusive stories about their adventure. Leave a like now, if you felt the emotion of this transformation. Comment your reactions, your feelings about this ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.